We are live. Welcome, everyone. Couple of minutes early. I was a couple of minutes late last week. Hopefully the chat's working a little bit better than it was last week as well. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Hello from Toronto. It's gray. It's January in Toronto, everyone. It's gray. Oh, Donna's in South Florida. I'm just a little jealous there, Donna. Won't lie. Very excited to have everyone here. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know where you're coming from as well. Very excited to get started and get into this is a very hot topic, no matter where you are, and it over the last several months has been a very hot topic. So I'm very excited to dive into our conversation today with our special guest. Hello from California. I see. Oh, Germany. Isn't it late for you guys? I guess it's not too late. Late enough though. It's past my bedtime. Aloha, Hawaii. Welcome back, everyone. Excited to have everyone here. Prince Edward County, I'm very, very jealous you're out that way, out towards the home. Parents are out that way, brothers out that way. Sault Ste. Marie, we got New Jersey. Folks, great. In the sticky bar across the top, we've got links going out across the whole webinar. So if you're ever looking for any links, usually that's where we put them as well in the chat. So don't be shy. Hello, BC, Thunder Bay. Oh, I quickly saw a First Nation, but I didn't get anywhere past that. You guys are so fast today. Settle on in a minute or two more. I'm going to start us off a little poll. We haven't done that in a long time. We've been very heads down, getting some great content out. Lots of people. Florida again. New Jersey again. Hello from China. I don't even know what time it is in China. This is why I Googled. Exciting to have everyone joining us. This is fantastic. I'm just about ready to get us rocking and rolling. Settle on in. If you haven't gotten your water yet, I've got my green tea going today. New York City, hello. Say hello to my brother-in-law. He's down in there. Niagara region, lots of great folks coming in today. VA, I see you there. Lots of grants. Texas. Hello, Texas. Is it warm in Texas right now? Like warmer than here? All right, folks, I'm going to start us out with a poll. So we want to know a little bit more as well around, there's two things that are going to come out. So we want to know a little bit more. Have you implemented virtual learning? How, in the past, you continued it, you can click in there, give us your answer, just launched it there. Want to know if any little tidbits, whether you decided to do it, not do it, you tried it, maybe families didn't like it, whatever route ended up happening. Love to know if you're still doing it. Maybe you've been doing that. Hello, Timmons. Hello. As well, fun fact coming up. Our Facebook group is almost ready, but I'll let her give the deets in a minute here. Let's see what's happening in the poll. Lots of centers have done it. Lots of families have loved it. A little bit around never really did try it, never really intended to try it. That's okay though. You know your centers the most, you know your families the most. It's all good. All right. Around 80% of families loved it and you guys have implemented it. I'm going to end the poll there, folks, so you won't be able to re-enter. But one more minute and let's get settled in. Super excited. I hope you brought your pens and your paper and your questions. As well as I've said this in many of our webinars is, I know Zoom is a great tool. Well, guess what, folks? We are moving to Zoom. We will officially be moving to Zoom next week. So as you register, things will look a little different. So please be patient with us as well as we work out the bugs that come with that, because I got a little learning to do. The big joke is, you go off for a couple of weeks or a week or two and then you come back and you forget how to do things. So let's get rocking and rolling. So Speaking about Facebook, like I was earlier, Kyle, I'll let you take it from here.
Hello, thank you so much. I actually just saw Debbie. Hello from Chattanooga. Debbie, Chattanooga is my hometown. I know I'm in Toronto now. I'm very far away, but hello to you. Special hello to another hometown guest. Okay, I'm super excited to announce our Circle Time. It is an amazing space that we are going to be launching on Facebook, February. Share your classroom ideas, your activities, your questions. You know, if you have another educator or a student or a parent or a director, someone who you may need some advice on, this is going to be the place for you to come. We're super excited to launch it. So I'm actually just going to pop the link to get to get signed up for our Facebook community. I just put it in the chat there, and I'll put it in the sticky bar after. If you want that link to be emailed to you, just put your email in that form and we will send it off to you. We have an amazing community here every Thursday. Let's transfer this and keep this amazing community going onto Facebook. So pop your email in there. We're super excited.
Thanks, Kaya. I'm really excited. This is going to be fantastic. Very excited. Folks, we saw once again, as always, we know that the connection is not great. So please do refresh. Hopefully this is the last time we have to tell you this. Hopefully that's it's no longer happening. As always, I did not go to law school, and we always want to make sure that you're not coming here for any sort of legal advice or professional advice of any kind. You're coming here to get great tips and tricks from, you know, great people around the world, North America. And if you're ever looking for advice, make sure to, want to make sure that everybody is in a good place. So if you're looking for the Facebook community, what we're doing is we're just collecting the emails so that you guys have to watch the recording, and they'll be there at the end. And speaking of show notes, they will be sent out tomorrow with everything included. So any links or anything like that. Aya, as well as our social media and content specialist, also has her hands on the ground there in the classroom. She's on the chat like always. So please, if you have questions, please send them her way. If you're having connection issues, once again, please, folks, just refresh at the top of the screen. It will reboot you in here. Okay. Last but not least, if you're ever looking for more information about Hi Mama, please visit our website. It's himama.com, HIMAMA. Please don't put the other one in. It's not a good place to go. And as well, just a reminder, if please don't put your emails in the chat. Please put them into the form. We have talked about virtual learning in the class and some of the benefits and challenges that are seen because of that. And I know that especially here in Ontario right now, specifically, we're virtually going around with even our school boards right now, especially in the Toronto community. We just got notice that some of our greater Toronto community schools are going back to in-person learning. And of course, that centers have been continuing to provide their essential services for us. So thank you to all of those, no matter where you are, not just here in Toronto, but no matter where you are, for what you do. Today, with our guests, I want to talk a little bit more about techniques, things on tackling virtual classes, because this is huge. And I know there's a lot of questions around when it all started, what it looks like in the early education space. And talk a little bit about more of that social emotional learning, because we know that this is a hard one, especially with virtual learning. And just the overall support that you can do for yourself, your families, if you're working with anybody else. So I'm really excited that we have Stephanie and Dianna. So once again, I do see everybody in the chat. I do apologize. We are working on moving you guys over into Zoom. Once again, it is not something I sadly can really do too much about besides encourage you to refresh. It is part of the platform. So I do apologize, but let's dive into some of the distance learning, a refresher from some of the key pieces that we've had over the last several months. So as we know, in the past, we talked about this, that virtual learning is, in our mind in the past has always been more of that, university courses, you're taking on extra credits, those sorts of things. But what it looked like in the childcare sector, it was totally foreign to us when this all happened. And when it all started, it was foreign to everybody, to be really honest, not just the teachers. But it comes in a variety of activities. It can be circle times. It could be, a show and tell. Really, as an educator, you have a blank slate to make an amazing time happen in whatever that time frame may be. And you make it anything you want. So why have it? Well, a lot of centers, especially when COVID first hit and we had this first piece happen to us. Just a tip here, Lucinda, who's been on with us, she said that she logged out, logged back in, and it worked better for her. Thank you so much, Lucinda, for that. But many centers adapted it as well. To have some sort of distance learning program for those children who did not return, maybe still have not returned, but as well for supplemental income. That's been a big piece of why centers have chose to do so. And as well, for those teachers who do not feel safe coming back, which I totally understand. They've been creating packages for parents. They've been hosting those online classes. And as well, I know centers have been doing a mix of both. We've heard from many centers that be the case. One of the key things, though, about providing some sort of distance learning program, no matter what you're doing, is creating that value for your benefits and challenges. There's so many that go on to each side. And let's start with some benefits, and we're going to cover a couple of them. But if, at the end of the day, if you're doing any recording, parents actually have the access. Like whether you put this on a special platform, whether you put this live for everyone to see, wherever you do decide to host them, maybe lower income and they don't really have a lot of tech that's available to them, makes it very difficult for them to access all of these things. So some of those other pieces, continuing on with challenges and benefits though, is if you're broadcasting those live, then let's say you're running it through the classroom, then you can actually have that connection between children that are in this interaction, as well around the routine. That's a huge piece, I believe, as well. Folks in community within your classroom and with your greater community. Of course, this is very hard right now with COVID, especially. But at the end of the day, we just have to continue to try our best. Highly recommend. This was one of the big pieces of input from Missy when we had her on back several times about the buddy up system. So she had a child at home who partnered up with a child who was attending the center, and they did sort of like scheduled calls, similar to probably what you do with your family right now, whether that was Zoom or Facebook or FaceTime. I've got Facebook on the brain, guys. And they were scheduling so that they can actually do some time together and sending home some pieces of, care packages, so that they could actually do this particular activity together. And I thought that was a very interesting thing to do. It allows them to share some time together, create that project, and have a good time. So benefits from mom and dad, or whoever you may be, families, parents, whoever you are. Mental health, huge piece of, for me, I think it's a huge piece for parents right now. It gives children something to look forward. Like I'd mentioned, it establishes part of those routines, and it gives parents to actually connect with their child's development. I think parents these days, so much more has come out of this because they're having to connect with what's happening and what their children are actually learning. And I think it's just given a little bit more eye-opening, and hopefully continues to open a lot more. Folks, I'm super excited. Take a breather here. I know a couple of you have been refreshing, and I see you coming back, and it's a bit of up and down. I do apologize, but I want to I'm bringing on Stephanie and Dianna, but Dianna first. We're going to jump in here. So she's the co-founder and director here, Play to Grow. All the links will be available. We're going to give you guys their Instagram link, which you can actually get a hold of them personally through that one there. So Dianna and Stephanie, come on here and join us. So she's registered. Both of you are registered, right?
Yes.
Yep. I thought so. I wanted to make sure get on my brain here. Lots of experience from both of you. You guys have some very amazing background in regards to your actual education. But maybe Dianna, I'm going to start with you. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the role you play with Play to Grow?
Sure. So as it says on the slide, I went to Humber College for the ECE program, got my diploma there, then transferred over to the University of Guelph Humber to get my Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Studies. And then I also work in a childcare center right now as well. And then unfortunately, due to COVID, and I'm in a school age program before and after school, during the day, I unfortunately can't go in the preschool and toddler room anymore due to COVID restrictions. So me and Stephanie came up with the idea of Play to Grow, so we could still be with that age group that we love and get to help those families that are stuck at home and are not comfortable with sending their children to childcare.
I love that you guys have come up with something like that. Like in my head, Personally, I probably wouldn't have thought about it because it's just not my way of thinking. But I love that you did, and how it's been impactful. And the fact that you're reaching out to those families who are at home right now, and where you guys are located, it definitely plays a huge piece with the fact we're not going back to school on Monday. Nope, it's not happening. Let's talk a little bit more. Obviously, COVID has changed the classroom. Maybe what's been, Dianna, for you especially, the hardest part and the easiest part so far? And it can be in any sort, they could be totally unrelated topics as well.
Okay, well, in the classroom, there was a lot of changes, obviously. So obviously when we came back, it was really heartbreaking to kind of come back and have to follow the new guidelines. So taking what the classroom was and changing it completely, seeing the parents come back to pick up their children's belongings and just hear all the stories about how hard it's been on them. So that was definitely the hardest part. And then something that was easy was getting to see the families again, getting to reconnect, getting to see all the kids' faces again. That was probably like the easiest and most rewarding part. Yeah.
I love that. I love how it's almost like the hardest part, yet they're so similar, but yet they bring two totally different emotions, especially as a teacher, right? Like you play with your emotions on a day-to-day. So of course we've gotten inventive. You guys have gotten inventive specifically. How did you feel about going digital, just in general, launching Play to Grow? Did you feel like your families maybe thought it would be a wild thing, or even the people who do reach out to you, maybe unrelated to your center too? So,
well, my support team was my family and my friends, and they were very supportive. I'm also in kind of a unique situation as I actually completed my undergrad online. So I kind of already had some online skills. I'm known to be very techie. I kind of just like to play around with different websites and stuff. And obviously Zoom became such a big thing during quarantine. Yeah. So kind of just doing like Zoom birthday parties and just Zoom like game nights. I got familiar with the site. And then, so although resistant a little bit and knowing how resistant kind of families were towards the idea, but it was definitely something that we kind of worked together on to kind of overcome those and kind of show the parents what we could do and how it would be beneficial, and getting to see some familiar faces, but also a lot of new faces.
That part must be so fun too, to see a lot of new faces and incorporate it with those people that you do know very well. Like it takes that community piece and it starts to spread, and you can feel it as you're going through your, whatever it is you're hosting that day. It definitely can be contagious. Yes. What's your 3 takeaways so far? They can be good or bad, but what's been your 3 takeaways to go along with launching virtual learning?
So I love it. I've always loved going to work and knowing that I get to come in and be with the little ones, even though they're online. So I get to use my creativity. We come up with songs all the time. We're songwriters now. We'll just be kind of humming a tune, and then we're like, we could make this a weather song.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we add actions. And then also we found that when we say the kid's name, they absolutely love that. So we always ensure they all get to participate every single session. And then also we plan ahead so the families know what we're going to do. For example, on Wednesdays, we do Explore and Learn, which is kind of science focused. Okay. And in order to ensure the kids can fully participate, we have the science stuff in front of us, but they also have it at home. So they can kind of live with us. Yeah.
I love that. So do you guys send that out then to, like, I assume you send it out via email, let mom and dad know, or whoever, what's going to go on, and then they just do the same thing, correct?
Yeah. So we open registration on the Wednesday before each week. Okay. And parents know it opens at 12:30 every week. And then a couple days later, once we have kind of our registrants for the next week, we send out that email with, here's everything you need for every day, the Zoom link, kind of all the stuff they need to know.
Perfect. Yeah. I love that. So what's been your family's feedback so far, and how, like, feedback even from yourself, how have you felt about all of this? Do you feel like it's running really well? What's your overall thoughts about everything that's going on so far?
So feedback actually is so important to us. From the first day we started, we created like a Google form, and we send it out to all the parents, all the families, to make sure that if they have anything they want to say, that we're always open to it. So some of the feedback we received early on was that it was too many kids, too many little voices talking all at once. And it was like they couldn't hear us. So when we're explaining like a science or an art activity, a lot of the parents were saying they couldn't hear. So we took that feedback, we kind of ran with it, and we lowered our cap, and then we added more class sizes. So the parents could still get to register for the sessions they wanted to. But we actually asked our parents this week if they could choose one word to describe their experience with Play to Grow, what would it be? So some of the ones they said was welcoming, heartwarming, innovative, uplifting, fun, engaging, educational, inspirational, and like so many more.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I love that you guys jumped in to get that feedback. It's like you said, it's super important.
I'm curious.
Well, you're curious too, right? Exactly. No, I would be the same boat. I'd be like, is this working? Like, what's going on? No, it's fantastic because it gives you guys so much more insight as to how your families feel, because clearly they're going to be able to verbalize for their children too, if they see what the benefits and challenges are. So I think that that's powerful for you, both of you. Yeah. Any tips? Let's talk around those infants, toddler area. Of course, social emotional has been a struggle. It's hard. It's hard no matter who you are, what age you are, what sort of virtual tech you're using. I think just generally, virtual learning can definitely have some serious impact. But on the same side, I think it can be some really powerful and positive impacts. Let's look at those infants, toddlers. So, thoughts on social emotional experiences. Have you guys explored this yet? Or any feedback from parents on things you guys have done in the past around that learning area?
So kind of around the toddler age group, we actually had a toddler room join us for some of our sessions. And so we kind of have noticed that it works for them when it's consistent, when they kind of know it's part of their schedule that day. So the educator in the room would say, okay, today we're going to do Play to Grow. But we've also found that it's been super beneficial. Like they also get the schedule of what we're kind of covering that day, the lesson plan. And then they can kind of guide their activities that day kind of to build on what we've already addressed. So we also make sure that we have a Terrific Tuesday program that specifically is for the toddler age. And we always make sure that it's engaging the entire time. Yes. There is no gaps. There is no downtime. No downtime. We always make sure that we're using action songs. We say their names constantly. We talk about our emotions, how we're feeling that day. It's okay if we're not happy today. Kind of with our older ones, we kind of go over that a little more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that you guys, it's almost like you both have taken what's really happening in the classroom. You've just turned around and yes, like you've said, there's no gaps. And that's probably a huge piece, especially for a toddler. No toddler sits down. We know none of them sit down, and I'm not going to try and make one. So they don't sit down, and we know that they want that constant. So you've definitely played like with the actions and with like moving them around. Those sorts of things I think is a key factor, especially when you're doing virtual learning, because they want that interaction too, right? And they're excited.
Yeah.
Very excited. All right. Advice around, if you've heard of anyone or talked to anyone being particularly resistant to wanting to implement virtual learning. And I know that at the end of the day, you do what you got to do and do what's best for your family and your centers and things like that. But have you come across this? And have you any advice for those people who may be just a little skeptical about the whole situation?
Of course. Well, we've definitely had some people reach out to us and how we do what we do, how we keep it so engaging the entire time. How do we entertain them? How do we keep it different? And I would just say you have to do your research ahead of time. You have to kind of ask the parents in advance what the kids' interests are, so you know how to kind of plan so they are engaged the entire time. Also, if there's any like tech questions, to just ask for help. There's a huge community online that is there to help you. Instagram, Facebook, the ECE groups are fantastic. They're always there. Yeah, they're amazing. And then, yeah.
Excellent. I'm super excited about all of this. You're getting some great questions coming through here on the chat. So Dana, I'm going to jump forward, give Stephanie a chance to give us a little more info as well here. And I know Stephanie, it's kind of similar here to Dianna. Tell us a little bit about yourself and of course your role at Play to Grow.
Well, so pretty much just like Dianna, I'm a registered early childhood educator. I went to Humber and Fanshawe College. I graduated from Fanshawe College with my ECE. I've been in the field though for 5+ years, and right now I work in the same before and after school program as Dianna. We spend all our time together. And then, yeah, similar situation. We were both kind of in this space where we had nothing to do during the day because of the, cohort restrictions. So we both, with what we were seeing from families during our reopening, we noticed that so many felt uncomfortable to come back. So we both spoke about it, and it was almost like this. We knew exactly what we wanted to do, so we went ahead and launched Play to Grow, and it's been amazing ever since, especially coming back in the new year. We really came back with a bang. It's been amazing.
Do you both think, and Dianna, maybe jump in a little bit after here, Stephanie, do you guys think you'll continue even when, let's say, we start going back, schools start going back full time, centers start going back to, working life, maybe post-COVID life? Do you think you continue doing this on the side, even if you, let's say, narrow it down to a little bit less, because of course you might be working a little more, but do you think you'll continue it?
I think, God willing, absolutely. I actually spoke about this a bit on the podcast. I truly think that virtual learning can live on past COVID, simply because I don't think we'll ever return to the normal that we had before. I will return to a new normal, and I think virtual learning will be such a huge part of that. I think even going past COVID, you're going to have a lot of families where their structure has changed. You're going to have more parents at home, more children at home, and I think that virtual learning is, where it's going to be headed. I really do think so.
I definitely agree. I agree. Dianna, is there anything you want to add to that one as well?
No, I think Stephanie kind of covered it all.
I think she nailed it. I think I was like, I can't. Okay, Stephanie, for you specifically, hardest challenges, easiest challenge for yourself. Like I said, similar to Dianna, it can be whether it's personally or in the classroom, or even around Play to Grow as well. What has been your hardest and easiest points?
The hardest, I'd say, and I feel like this is kind of selfish of me to say.
No,
I think because we had been in lockdown for so long, I don't think everybody came back to work in the best of headspace. You know what I mean? We're all just as uncertain as the parents were, as the children were. They didn't understand what was going on. And I really struggled with coming back and I was so worried about putting my best self forward. And then I quickly realized that these children have the same concerns as I do. And I think it's okay to talk about these concerns. And I think once I came back, that's what made it really easy, was that I have these concerns, so do the children. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we can work through these emotions. And I think that's my hardest and easiest, kind of ties it together, just like Dianna's.
Hey, and you know what? They usually play part and parcel together. So I love that. And to go on with that a little bit, to actually tap back into your previous statement about, you feel like virtual learning will definitely not go away. And I agree with you. I feel like it's been changed. Learning has been changed in general. What was your thoughts about going digital and implementing Play to Grow? Were you nervous about all of this? Did you guys think maybe it would flop completely?
I think I can speak for us both when I say we were both very nervous. Because again, it's something that's so new. You have families that are obviously very hesitant. There's a lot of misconceptions around virtual learning because a lot of people think, oh, why am I just putting my child in front of a screen? When that's totally not the case with virtual learning. So I think we were very nervous, but once we kind of gained some momentum with it, we saw that we were really changing lives for these children right now who have been cooped up at home. And that was enough for us. So we were compelled to do it, and it's been amazing ever since. So nervous at first, but right now we're feeling good.
You're pros now at this point. I agree with you. As soon as you start doing it, we're on our 37th webinar, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to do fine. And
you have to roll with it.
Yeah, you roll with it. It works out well. Yeah. It's the same thing in the classroom, though. You plan to a certain extent, and then you have that flexibility where you roll with it as well. And then otherwise, I feel like it's not as fun personally. Exactly. But
even our lesson plans, we kind of plan based on like the feedback that we get from parents, based on the enrollment forms we get from parents. But then we'll have these lesson plans, and the children will take it in a totally different direction. And we're like, okay, let's go there then.
You have to pivot. Otherwise, they're over there and you're over here, and you're like, well, this isn't working. Yes, and you end up being the one who gives usually, and you just have to. But okay, let's talk about what's been your 3 takeaways from implementing virtual learning.
My 3 takeaways. Well, definitely, I know I've mentioned this before, ask for feedback.
Yep.
It's so important. I think without our feedback forms, we were watching one of the webinars recently, and he said that there's no such thing as too much communication right now.
Yep.
So we are constantly communicating with our families about like how we can better our services. And I think that's been really crucial in the success of our program. So ask for feedback. The second one would be show up. And that seems very vague, but we have 30 minutes with these children every day, 30 minutes with some children who we've never met before. So it's really important that we bring our best self forward. So we have to pour into ourselves to bring our best selves forward. And that's been really important for the success of our program. And lastly, it would, when venturing out, kind of go with the mindset of an explorer, because I think both Dianna and I, we went into this venture without thinking about any previous experience we may have had with any type of virtual learning, because we wanted to learn something new every day. And we ensured that we weren't hindering ourselves, and we allowed ourselves to learn new things and try new things and implement new things. And I think that's what's been really beneficial to our program.
That is fantastic. And I think as educators, we also try to instill that specifically within a child. Like you want them to get out, you want them to explore, you want them to get out of the box.
Yeah.
And that's a key thing as well as an adult, but also I want to say probably the hardest thing. That box is comfy. All right. Similar as well here to Dianna. Do you have any tips on, social emotional learning as well, in regards to, let's maybe give it a bit of a twist, social emotional learning with some of those older students, like especially right now, for example, my nephew, he's 9, he's at home doing his schooling, obviously the 4-year-old's behind him coloring. She's living her best life, let's be real here, folks. She doesn't care. Any tips around some of those things, especially with older children, because of course relationships and friendships are a huge piece with school age children. So
yes, absolutely. I think connection within the classroom, both physically and virtually, is so crucial to the success of every child. And I think maintaining a social emotional environment, especially virtually, definitely poses some challenges, which we've experienced plenty. But we try to create a space that ensures that children are given the opportunity to express themselves. We want them to mature emotionally. We want them to interact with their peers from a distance. So even with our older ones, it's important that we have a space where we allow them to talk to one another. So that's a big thing. Don't mute them, let them talk to each other. Even we've noticed now, especially because we've had sort of the same set of kids for a while, now before we come up on the screen, they're all talking to each other. They're like, oh, hi, so-and-so, how are you doing? Da, da, da. And these children have never met each other before.
That is phenomenal.
It's amazing how they've created these friendships from a distance. It really is quite phenomenal. So allowing them to talk to one another, talk about their feelings, explaining how our emotions look, explaining how they feel, sharing our accomplishments is a big thing, because yes, we only have 30 minutes, but we want to make sure that those 30 minutes are fulfilling. So we ensure that when we do our science experiments, when we do our art activities, that we're giving them time to share these things. And that also creates a community within the children as well, because, so-and-so shares it, and then so-and-so from over here is like, wow, that looks amazing. And it's fantastic, really. We, most importantly, give each other virtual hugs.
Yeah, I love it.
It's fun. At first, when we first tried to do it with them, they were like, what are they doing? Why are they so close to the camera? But yeah, we like to try and end all our sessions with a little virtual hug. It's fun.
And you want to know what? It promotes that idea around. So I think right now children are a little scared because don't touch those things right now, and that's because you don't know. So promoting that bit of love and that self-care through that shows that it's okay. Like we just have to do it properly in those sorts of things right now, versus this is a oh my goodness moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
How about from another resistance sort of step as well? Have you experienced or had anybody around you who's particularly resistant to wanting tech or virtual learning at any time? Have you maybe had any parents who were a little let's say, really skeptical and joined, and then of course maybe their mood changed.
Yeah.
But any advice for people who are maybe even teachers like yourselves who are particularly resistant to wanting to do virtual learning right now?
Well, I can say myself that I was definitely one that was resistant at the beginning.
Okay.
Even like in the childcare settings, I find that tech is so fresh, so new. You really don't see it too much in the childcare setting. So how can we blame parents for being resistant? How can we blame educators for being resistant? But like Dianna said, there are so many resources to, equip yourself with knowledge about it. In terms of tips for people who may be resistant, I can honestly speak from like what we've done to help those who have been resistant. So we try and be transparent throughout the whole process. We're always sharing videos of what our sessions look like. Even with the lesson plans, you know exactly what's going to happen while being flexible at the same time.
Totally.
And I honestly think that sharing videos, sharing pictures, sharing feedback is what's really helped those who aren't part of our program yet take the leap. Because when they're on the outside looking in, they're like, oh, but like, what are they really getting? I don't understand the concept. But then they see. We like to show what's actually happening in our program, and I think that's kind of the most beneficial thing for us, is just being transparent throughout the entire process.
That's fantastic. I think at the end of the day, transparency goes a long way, no matter who you're talking to and about what. To be really honest, it's a good piece to have. So let's jump into some open Q&A. We've got a lot of questions that have come through. I might have to, guys, the list is huge. Kaya's over here and I'm like, whoa, calm down. But before we do, I'm going to bump off. Tell us a little bit about your kit and how people can get it.
Okay, so over at Play to Grow, we've really been focusing on allowing parents to continue the learning at home. With our subscription package that we just launched earlier this month, and then we most recently launched our Continue the Learning Kit. This basically has a bunch of printable resources for you to put around your room, for you to use as flashcards, to use as an activity. It's really a great resource for you to have to continue the learning at home. Normally this goes for $7, but we are so thankful for everyone who came out today that if you follow us on Instagram and direct message us our code word, YELLOW, we will send you the downloadable link for free. Oh, Ria, I can't hear you.
I'm going to try. Thank you so much. It was the Zoom moment, when you forget. It's, oh my God.
You know that feeling.
That'll be me next week. I won't know how to use it. It'll be wild. Okay. So a couple of amazing questions that have come through, and a couple have been around like exactly a little bit more detail around your session. So you said they've run for about 30 minutes, but maybe give us like a little bit more breakdown. Do you guys do various age groups? How many sessions do you do? Maybe just give us a little more overview around what your sessions are like.
For sure. Sure. So we do the 5 daily sessions. So on Monday, we do Connect and Learn, which is essentially a virtual circle time, where we focus on letters, shapes, numbers of the week, kind of that sort of thing. Tuesday, we do Count and Learn, which is not all counting. It's our math session. Yeah. So we did like measuring and counting and adding, subtracting, that kind of stuff. On Wednesday, we do Explore and Learn, which is our science. So we do a science experiment every week. Thursday is Create and Learn, where we do a creative art piece. Our children love process art. Yes. It is amazing to see what they do with that.
It's hard to bring them out of it.
Yeah.
It's like we can the session.
I would love to see pictures from that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then on Friday, we do Read and Learn. We kind of end the week with like a story time. Yeah.
That's fun. And it's like a nice way to set the children up for a relaxing weekend as well.
Exactly.
So when you guys run your sessions, do you guys do like anything different in your backgrounds? This has been one of the other ones. Kind of what is your physical thing, your room, your whatever it is look like? And you guys are laughing. I can't wait.
We love our virtual backgrounds. I think it's like every Sunday, me and Dianna are sending stuff back and forth like, oh, this is cute. Let's make this. And, we also have our waiting room. So we always open up the session 15 minutes early to allow children to kind of get settled, get themselves in. And in that waiting room, we have music playing and our little Bitmojis. They recognize our Bitmojis now. They know that's Miss Dianna, that's Miss Stephanie. But yeah, in terms of our background, we pretty much change it up every day. We have a little science lab on Wednesdays. and a little art studio on Thursdays. So we definitely like to change it up.
You got to have fun with it, right? Like otherwise it's just a wall. Like it's just there. Like I love them as well. We did a couple of great ones for like Christmas and things like that and had a lot of fun. Okay, tell us a little bit more about the age group breakdown. Now, do you guys keep the same age group for the whole week? Do you do multiple age groups? How does that work for you guys?
Okay, so Monday through Friday from 10:30 to 11 and 11:30 to 12, it's the 3 to 5 age group, the preschool age group. Then on Tuesday mornings from 9:30 to 10, that's our Terrific Tuesday where we do a toddler interactive program.
I like
and
it.
then for now, actually we just started yesterday,
Yes.
we're doing the science social for our school age kids on Wednesdays after school at 3:45, at least while they're off for the time being at home.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So a little bit of everybody in there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Why not? Right. So, okay. The hard question that I said would definitely come. Okay. So whoever wants to jump on this one, and it won't be me. So of course we know you've mentioned we're probably not going back to the normal that we used to know. And I think we'll get eventually close to it, but I agree. I don't think we're going to ever 100% be there. Do you think maybe there's any skills that we can add to level up our centers, or skills that we maybe should be focusing on for children that may not already be like an eye on thing now? You know, we think about the social, emotional, the cognitive, the physical. Do you think something new should go in there that we potentially haven't thought about?
I think that, like I said, technology is so fresh, and I think especially in the childcare setting, it's just not really spoken about right now. And I think we need to introduce it. I think there needs to be more training around it for educators, because they're just as resistant. So we need more training for educators. We need more resources to have it in the classroom. And I think even without the pandemic, we were going in that way anyways. Technology was going to make its appearance in childcare centers. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to start implementing that, and to start having educators that are well equipped with the knowledge to have that in their classroom. I'd say that's a skill that they should start. I mean, children right now in childcare, by the time they're, in the senior grades in elementary school or in high school, that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be using technology. So I think it's important that we equip them with those skills from a young age.
I agree. And it definitely has a lot of benefits as well. Dianna, do you want to add it all to that?
Well, I know in kindergarten classrooms, specifically from my placements, they have smart boards where they would kind of use that to do like interactive games in the classroom. And I know there were some that would do like pen pals with other classrooms. So definitely tech was always going to come. And even if childcare had that, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think if you use it right and instill that right mindset around technology, and I've seen a couple of things in the chat here about, there's obviously a huge stigma around technology. I think it just needs to be used correctly, taught correctly, and it won't have that bad stigma around it. As well as, you do want to encourage the time on it and limit that in the appropriate timeline for development and things like that. There's so many things that we have to encompass as educators that it's a little overwhelming some days.
Yeah, I think that's why it's taken a while for it to make its appearance. I think that's why.
I agree. It also can have some really huge benefits, I think, for potentially children with disabilities, for example. That would be a huge one, whether they're nonverbal or they don't have the words to express themselves. It can be used in such a fantastic way. There's so many cool tools out there for them. So, a couple more questions here, and then we're going to wrap up. What about hands-on activities? What do you guys do for that? So you had mentioned you send out a list for some of the activities you guys do. Maybe enlighten us about like the process and maybe some of the things you guys would have on those lists for parents to potentially get that weekend, or they might have at home.
Okay. So for Count and Learn, we like to use popsicle sticks. We measure things. We use Lego. We use
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. Yeah, we use a lot of Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think that when it comes to the materials and stuff, we try and keep it, especially now. I mean, we're trying to limit how much people have to go out, so we try and use a lot of household items that people should have on hand already. And we also, when it comes to the hands-on activities, we also don't entirely direct it. There's nothing where, even when we're like, oh, we have these materials, we're not saying we have these materials and this is what we're going to do. It's we have these materials. What do you think we're going to do? And there have been times where a child has said something completely different than what we may have had in mind, and we just go with it. Okay, let's do this then. And it turns out great. It's amazing. They have such amazing imaginations. So we like to just kind of run with it.
That is amazing. Ladies, you're getting a lot of love in the chat, just so you know right now. People are saying so much. There's thank you. Yes, of course, as you know, we've had some technical issues. Thank you all for staying. But a lot of them are saying that they've enjoyed this so much, and it's just so helpful to hear. I just wanted you guys to know what's coming out of the chat here. Let's start with you, Dianna. Any last pieces of advice, words of wisdom, happy thoughts, anything you want to leave the audience with today?
Sure. So I know through like the online groups that a lot of people like to say to mute the children. But we found early on that we don't want to take that approach. Mm-hmm. So if there's background noise, if a parent needs to take a phone call, if there's a crying baby in the background, yes, we do ask that maybe they just mute their mic just for a couple seconds while they deal with that. But we always want them to be unmuted. Yeah. We don't want to be talking to ourselves. We do that all day. We want them to talk back to us. We want them to ask us questions. You wouldn't be able to mute them in your classroom in real life. So why mute them online?
Yeah.
I love it. So keep that communication open is what I'm getting here. Don't mute them. Let them live their best life. Stephanie, same thing for you. Words of advice, wisdom, happy thoughts you want to leave the audience here with today.
Let me leave everyone with a happy thought. Stay home. And if we stay home, this will be over before you know it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're all doing the best we can. I love you all. We're all doing great, and we'll persevere through this.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you from everyone at Hi Mama. Thank you for joining us today. You're still getting so much love. Spanish love. Guys, I can't speak that fast. Okay, hold up. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's jump into the certificate, folks. So it's available here in the files section. Please go ahead, download this guy in a PDF, and this way you guys can take that and use for your PD hours, whatever you wish. And as well, it will be available in the show notes. Once again, from the recording, you can access it there. After today, this will change. So more news to come on how you can get those. But watch for your show notes to say about this recording. It's been absolutely fabulous having Stephanie and Dianna on. So next week, all right, I'm super excited for next week. I'm excited for every week, but I'm definitely excited about this one. It's a little bit more about a Hi Mama session. So we're actually going to be doing a little bit of a feature roundup from 2020. So many things were added to the app, added to the program over the last several months. And we know that a lot of you have said, you've never heard of Hi Mama prior to all this. So I wanted to give like some insight, some sneak peek. So whether you are a director, an owner, a teacher, a parent, if you want to learn a little bit more or get a refresher on some of the things that are within the application itself, don't miss this one. We have our Hi Mama Zone coming on, and I'm very, very excited to have this one here. So, and the other piece to this is we will be having like a little look-see into what's coming for 2021 feature-wise. So it's a great piece. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. The following week, we're going to have Miss Danny's coming back, everybody. So I'm excited to bring her back and talk a little bit more about growing your center as well. So once again, follow us on Instagram. Follow Stephanie and Dianna on Instagram. Okay, you're missing out if you're not. Follow us on Facebook. We will be getting our Facebook group specifically up and ready to go here in February. So please watch for your invites to come. Learn a little bit more, himama.com. And if you're as well interested, Stephanie's podcast, like she's mentioned, it's on our website under the podcast, but we have links out here. And please do listen. It's a fantastic listen if you're looking for a great podcast. So please don't miss out on any of that. It will also, all the links will be available in the show notes. Okay. Last but not least here, thank you. Kaya, did I miss anything? Anything you want to add to this fantastic presentation today?
Yeah, you nailed it. I've just been loving the chat as per usual. There's been so many fantastic ideas. One of the key takeaways, if you are still listening, not muting the children, like I think is chaotic, but Dianna mentioned such an amazing, valuable point that we wouldn't mute these kids in our classroom. Why are we doing it on Zoom? As an adult, we just have to breathe, the chaos of the yelling and the, talking over each other is going to be okay. And just think about how important that is for their emotional and social development and their language development. So I think that was a fantastic takeaway. Again, check them out on Instagram and Facebook, and you can message them using the code word YELLOW. I'll pop that in the chat one more time, and get your free package. And also join our Facebook community. We're launching it February 1st, as you mentioned, Ria. Pop your email into the link that's currently in the sticky bar. We're so excited to launch it.
I am very, very, very excited, Kaya. I think it's going to be fantastic. Like you said, the chat here builds so much community. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to join you all next week on our new platform. Kaya and I are both very excited about that. Everyone, please stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe, and we'll see you next Thursday, 2 p.m. Till then, enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, everyone. Take care.